This video for the Market Sniper channel is not going to be like other videos. It's going to try look at things that I'm not always mentioning in the same detail on the Market Sniper channel. It's possibly one of the most important videos I've made in my time on YouTube since 2009. And it comes out of a number of things. It comes out of an escalation and a quickening of certain agendas that I certainly feel. It comes out of me listening in on our recorded calls of what everybody inbound that is calling is saying. And it was almost a little bit emotional for me, because it's been a while since I listened into calls. I'm on Twitter. I read all the comments in the YouTube. Some of them I even reply to. I look at DMs on X, Twitter. Some I even reply to. I'm getting a lot of inputs in terms of what the man in the street is feeling. But there's nothing like those that recognize and are part of our tribe, but as yet not officially, and are booking calls and talking about their pain points. And I'm going to talk about a couple of avatars of people that I've listened to recently in terms of seeking to engage with our business and some of what they're saying. I'm also going to show you the lie of the land. The lie of the land as I see it now. And I've even tried to put this in a flowchart, because on the one hand, I have a strong left brain mathematics, was it right brain? I'm even getting confused. My dyslexia is kicking in. Left brain process and mathematics. And then the other side, I've studied history and have a strong feeling of where I think something ends up. And I keep seeing dots joining up, heading in that trajectory. Understanding where the end is in mind. So not only intuitively am I looking and tracking the path on the ground here of the animals walking in the sand. Where are they going? What are they? As a traditional tracker, a chartist, what is it going? I've also had what Stephen Covey used to refer, begin with the end in mind. And if you've studied history and you think hard about who is running the world and how it all works, they have an end in mind and they are working back. So I am doing forward in front of me, real time tracking through the charts and through the sands of everyday's cultural, social events, fundamental events, and financial, trading, market-based events. And then from another side that I envisage as the eventuality, the tracking back. And I can tell you these two paths are on a collision course where the dots starting from A and the one starting from Z are heading towards smashing into each other and lining up the way, illuminating, dare I say, the way to a certain eventuality. And I have become more and more convinced of this. And more importantly, so have you. That's right. The people that I'm talking to, that many of whom are booking calls and having a chats with us. And actually, I feel quite emotional about it. And I was talking to our onboarding team. We actually have a role to play, even for people that will never consider joining, but if they call, to leave people feeling better than they were before the call, because I am feeling their pain. I listened to a few calls in retrospect and almost like wanted to jump into the middle of the conversation. And I continue to work with our onboarding team, who's excellent, by the way, and whose performance I'm very happy with. But the key thing is we need more empathy. You guys are hurting and you're afraid out there. You're uncertain. You've lost your calmness. You've lost your sense of relaxation. There is deep-seated machinations that the smarter of you are feeling, and you know it doesn't spell well. This is what I'm hearing and this is what I'm seeing. And I feel pain for my fellow man on listening to those calls, and I've listened to quite a few now. And this YouTube is to talk to you that don't get to speak to me directly anymore because of the volumes, and to say we continue to improve ourselves and want to be that empathetic voice. But let's take a step back and ask, what is all this that I'm talking about? What is the lie of the land? And in thinking on this video that I wanted to do, and I'm so off the cuff, I can stand up and speak, and I'm terrible at planning and putting lots of things down and doing everything. And I started to do this, and then I started to think to do this properly would take me actually 2 weeks. So in the end, I've just done a little bit of what I feel you need to know, and it's kind of concise version. There is so much detail and color to this story, this painting that I'm going to make for you. And yes, we're going to revert to a flow chart. We're going to revert to the images in a minute. But I need you to get enough information that you see exactly what those callers are seeing, and you see and start to feel exactly what I'm feeling. And this Market Sniper video will have a short reference to, the oil market and the gold market and a call right at the end to it, for those of you that like the usual stuff. But it's not going to be usual in most ways. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to revert to a flow diagram that I drew up, and then I thought I need more detail, more steps, more everything in here to do it. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to go with it as it is. It's more important I get this out than I get it perfect. And I'm going to show you images of tweets, news events, and I'm going to talk about many others that are just too many for me to find and put in. And I'm going to put all this material on the clipping board here, the editor's clipping board, on this table, right in front of you. Yes, I've got a lovely standing table. I'm a lucky man. I have a great existence. I can sit and work and write and work. But on this table is the clipping boards, effectively, of various apparently unrelated, disparate news events that are occurring world around, and specifically in the West. And then I am going to position it and say, what does this mean for the flow diagram of words in terms of the direction we are going in? And it's very important to understand the direction. The tracking is, what animal is it from its footprints? What direction is it moving in terms of the follow? And I'm going to come to a conclusion that I think some of you already will know, and I'm going to then point out there is scope for you, as part and parcel of recognizing this, to see that you can protect yourself from this attack vector. But before I go too much further deep, let's just move over to the flow diagram. And we're talking about the lie of the land. How is everything? So we were in the military. I was an officer due to conscription. We used to have to do models and explain. What is the lie of the land? Where are the enemy? What are the roads? What are the obstacles? What are the rivers, the wetlands? What kind of equipment are you using? What attack? What is the objective? In the same in business. And I'm saying to you, in the game of life, in a reset world, according to me, what is the lie and the land, and where are you? And what are these attack vectors? And there are so many I could have listed too, but I just split them for simplicity's sake into cultural and financial fundamental. Cultural, there's also the military-industrial complex, which is neither cultural. It kind of is dovetailed in the financial and fundamental, but deserves its own. There's the pharmaceutical industrial complex, the corporate fascism, and how that's moved, which is part and parcel of pharmaceutical, military-industrial complex. All these various aspects that are playing out. But just for simplicity, for this to be an imperfect flow chart that just split it into the social and cultural and the financial, the fundamentals of the financial realm. That's banking, debt, and many things else. And we're going to visit that. But before I go further into this flow chart, I also want to show you something that was a tweet from somebody else. And that looks like this. It was done by Daniel Priestley. And he said, running a good government is not hard. In terms of, when reduced to its simplest sense, obviously it's a massive, in many cases, too big bureaucracy that has been addended immensely and ever socialized, and recruitment into government has become more socialized, more communistic. We'll get into that in a moment. But essentially, government should be doing a certain number of things. And I like this when it comes from other people's voices, because these are sensible people that are thinking and saying the same things I say, and that have organized their thoughts far better than me and put it down in a nice 5 bullets. And here's what Daniel said. Border security. Border security. The ability to select exactly who comes and goes. Now, obviously, existing citizens are free to go on tourism and change homes, but who comes in, the desirability of that party, their contribution, their likely contribution versus their likely cost of maintaining to the larger society. I would add that extra bit of color, and I think many of you will know why. Food security. How do you look after your farmers? Are farmers protected? Are they safe? Do they export? Are they encouraged? Are they doing technology? Or are they being bought out, squeezed out, encouraged to exit the industry, unnecessarily kill livestock for various reasons, highly embedded into the pharmaceutical complex, overly regulated, that makes the necessity for such pharmaceuticals to be involved, those kind of things. So we've spoken about border and food. What else does then Daniel say? He says energy security. Utilities as a complex are electricity, water. Your ability to have lights, heat, stove, and your ability to have water. So I would say energy security. That must be energy for corporations to do manufacturing activities, service-related activities, people at home to be able to do all that we do, which includes work from home with internet, thanks to power, and various other aspects. Then, financial security. In other words, a system which allows people to have a strong personal finance and a government that is responsible and works within budgets and recognizes in a finite resource realm, you cannot overspend and pass the parcel to future generations. You need to make difficult decisions and live within your means. Personal finance, where people live generally within their means, and a government where it lives generally within its means, with very few exceptions. Running a good government is not hard. You need to get these 5 basics right. These are the basics. How is the question? Daniel asks, is your country performing on these big 5 points? How is your country performing on these big 5 points? So let me tell you, half our audience is United States of America. Thank you for your amazing support, America. 20 plus is United Kingdom. Thank you for your amazing support. They are out in the UK, Scotland, Ireland. I know you're not the United Kingdom, Southern Ireland, Northern Ireland, all that stuff, nothing inferred there. Thank you for your support. South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, thank you for your support. Rest of the world, Northern Europe, the English language speakers amongst Northern Europe, thank you. And let me tell you, in all those nations I have mentioned, the scoreboard for these fundamentals is absolutely appalling. It is a fail on all levels. And let me then go on to say that my answer to Daniel, that I would like him to addend on a very good post, is I would also add, what is the current trend or trajectory for these items as well? So they could be bad, but getting better. So let me just say, Government of National Unity in South Africa, the electricity hasn't gone off since it's come in. Power cuts are over. It's a terrible situation that you occasionally face a set of circumstances where you get power cuts, but that's on an upward trend from a low base. That's actually better than a nation that rarely or almost never has power cuts without emergencies, slowly slipping into that cycle, as an example, in case. What is the trend? And I'm here to tell you, in the West, we've had the best living standards of many across the world in all nations that you cover. Most people are relatively less wealthy than you. But the trend and the trajectory for those 5 points, and many others, by the way, in your home nation state is absolutely categorically down, and rapidly so. And why do we say that? Well, in the end, I just ended up with a blotter full of tweets that I've just snapshotted to kind of just give you a feel of what the vibe is out there. Not me, but Grok says another church was mysteriously set on fire in France. This is an umpteenth of churches that are being bought. This particular building, the Immaculate Conception in Saint Omer, was built in 1854. That's starting to be quite a long time ago. A structure of great many years standing, a survivor of both world wars. The post questions, says Grok, why synagogues and mosques are not similarly effective, but we seem to have an immense destruction of churches. I don't know the answer there. It's a funny place to start. I don't know, but it is an interesting question. Some might say there's more churches. I would agree. But I'm not hearing in Europe of buildings being burned down of any other faith. I'm not wanting them to be burned down of any other faith. Let's be clear. I'm not wanting any to be burned down. It just seems a little moot point. What's happening in America? South American gangs are beginning to take over more buildings. This is actually a clip from a video. So there's a whole scene of them saying how they've moved in, they're squatting, they're taking over this building, etc., etc. Prepare for this to get worse, says that man. That's what he thinks. I give a lot of flack to Brent sometimes when he sounds too dollar dominant and too big on the US debt and the dollar situation and hegemony of America. I disagree. But he points out, and I'm with him on this, this was the song Go West by the Pet Shop Boys as the Berlin Wall collapsed. What actually happened there? Instead of the communist nations getting capitalism, which to some degree they have, it seems the West has got communism. And that's a fair point to raise. And we are getting ever more Bolshevik, communist and draconian in line with the very clearly written document on lockstep, the Rockefeller Foundation. Lockstep. Google it for yourself. Some of the things I'm going to show you in pictures, some of that you must go check yourself. A totalitarian state will be coming as per lockstep Rockefeller Foundation. That is what they say. I'm going to suggest I put in lockstep Rockefeller Foundation into Grok and see what comes in. This document was not a blueprint, it rushes to say. A plan for a real-world event, but rather one of several hypothetical scenarios designed to provoke thought on how technology might evolve in response to global challenges. In the lockstep scenario, the world reacts to the with the top-down control. Top-down control. The words control and top-down, leading to a more centralized and authoritarian governments. A top-down control. This scenario included elements like mandatory adherence to mask-wearing, body temperature clocks, stringent public health measures, which some have noted resemble the responses seen in the... It most certainly did. In fact, we arrested grannies off park benches for getting sun and breathing fresh air outdoors. That's right. We beat the pulp. We had cops beating the pulp into women and throwing them down on pavements for not wearing masks. We had a lot. We actually had a lot of what went with that particular agenda. So let's go back to our images and continue through them. We've got highly deadly mosquito diseases starting to spread. This roughly after a bunch of genetically modified mosquitoes were released a year or so ago. We've got in America Planes flying over suburbs, shining and screening and scanning with green lasers. Unexplained by the mainstream media, who's saying who's shining these things. Believe you me, if I got a private plane and was flying up and down over suburbs, shining beams, they'd quickly find out that it was me, my plane, and have me arrested and explaining what I was doing. So you can only guess that the fact that no one is being brought in tells you that it is part of statist exercises, statist scanning, status monitoring. Maybe they're scanning for their mosquitoes with a luminous light. Maybe they are monitoring how many people are on average in a home. By the way, speaking of a home, this is what happens. They gave AI and a Wi-Fi, a camera, and they monitored people in a room with the camera. They got the AI to learn with the benefit of the Wi-Fi, took the cameras away and said, can you identify the people from the wavelengths being dispersed by your Wi-Fi, bouncing off the walls? Where are the people and where do they stand? It was able to do that. Let's be clear, the power of AI, position located every person in the room without line of sight from a camera. This is AI and your Wi-Fi spying essentially on you. This capability is back today, probably already existed long before it got reported. This is the capability which is very much of a surveillance nature. Then we move on to some things that are a little bit more freedom of movement and financial. The IRS has a method of last resort, you do understand, to collect overdue taxes, revoking your passport. So now we have a situation where extra powers are being given and discussed that actually remove your ability to travel internationally on account of an extraction central reserve that is in peak mode extraction as we get into austerity for the masses and abundance for the military industrial complex. In fact, I'm going to jump forward to this particular one. These powers being awarded to the IRS coincide with discussions initially started by Janet Yellen and then mimicked by the talking clown puppets Kamala Harris and Biden surrounding unrealized gains. Unrealized gains are exactly that. They're 100% paper profits. I've had unrealized gains far higher than what I ended up gaining before in trading the markets, in doing many things, particularly in my earlier years. And I can tell you, being taxed on unrealized gains means everything you currently own in an inflationary environment that is an asset has now, according to this inflationary tax of proliferation and ever higher costs for everything, now gained value. Your property, even potentially in some circumstances, cars that you bought in special circumstances can even have gained value. Certainly gold, certainly potentially crypto. The more volatile, the more dangerous this tax is. They can levy, and even if they only introduced it for 1%, it is the future impoverishment of everyone. Everything you own could be deemed to have made a gain. Why? Because there is an inflation in the world and you've gone up in value, when in actual fact, the whole center for the basis of measuring things is being devalued to ensure even things that should have a disinflationary value to zero and should deflate away to nothing or near nothing are in fact appreciating on account of a diminishing fiat currency. A diminishing fiat currency in an environment where the debt is absolutely obscene. Unrealized capital gains is such a shocking potential leveler that it could be it could be the end of private wealth and private property, all occurring with everything else I've spoken on. Larry Fink, tokenization, the thought paper by a Chicago professor, a chosen one, along with Vitalik Buterin, saying you should be made to value all your assets on a blockchain and have wealth taxes, property taxes levied on it. It's also old school to own things. Uber owns no cars. Airbnb owns no properties. You know, all these examples, you should just be happy to rent and pay subscriptions everywhere you go and to own nothing of your own. This is the Bolshevik communist novel selling you a mindset that ownership is actually evil and owning nothing is a virtue. That's where they are going in terms of their thought manipulation. Don't let it worry your little head. If you own something, you need to maintain it, look after it. Other people can do this. We're a service ether. You can just waft in and use things, waft out, use something else, waft around, renting everywhere you go, and never being an owner. That's exactly how they want it. You'll soon be having virtual holidays with your virtual goggles if you're not careful. This is the Department of Justice and the FBI claiming people's passports because they were found together with other documents that had nothing to do with the case or the reason that they were in. This points towards a future where your ability to travel will be greatly reduced. And I want to tell people about the USSR. I've been making a podium here and telling Westerners to leave. Let me tell you, the day will come where financially or practically that will no longer be an option. In fact, you will be in your 15-minute city. You will remain there. You will take less and less international holidays until they disperse and you've been trained into it. Till the point comes you will not have international flight or the ability to get it without very special, complicated means. It was almost impossible for the everyday average person in the USSR to travel out. You were in a captured prison. Don't forget your Wi-Fi and the AI machinery and the surveillance finance that they're bringing to you will also be watching you in your home country. Now, some will say America's a grand old country. There's plenty of beautiful places to visit there. I don't need to see the rest of the world until your legal system turns into something like that of communism. And believe you me, they are coming for all the Western nations. And I am hearing in our callers the concern, the thoughts, and the pain of being head of a family and having a job and wondering, how do I leave? It's not easy. You don't just leave and go somewhere else. In fact, it's a process. And joining our community, which is the beginning of that journey, is actually just the first step of being around like-minded. You see, you need to be around like-minded. I heard 4 different callers say, my mates just don't get it. There's no one down at the pub that really fully gets you. Or some go, yeah, you're onto something, but never mind. Who's playing Man United this weekend? Back to the footy, you know? Don't want to think too far. It's all a little negative. I just need my life and then I'll shimmy on and not have too much affected. They need to be around people that are aware of these things, that they can talk freely, and at the same time start processes to leave. I'll tell you a personal story on leaving. So I was born into the apartheid South Africa. By the time I'd done my MBA and got ready, apartheid was over, and the only recruitment by banks and investment banks and places and trading houses that I wanted to get was the opposite race. It was non-white only. And they were correcting for an obvious bias, people will say, from before. So, you know, maybe it was the right thing to do. But at the time, I was looking for work in the areas I wanted to work. My country was turning me down, turning me away, leading me to crappy commission-only sales jobs when I was better qualified to do better things. And in the end, what did I do? I left. Was it easy? No. It absolutely wasn't easy. I thought of all my childhood, the place of my birth, beautiful Cape Town, my best friends. I had a girlfriend with 2 children at the time from a previous marriage. I ended up having to get married so that they could get passports. All these things had to happen. And it wasn't a success particularly, but they had to happen, otherwise leaving everybody behind. I wasn't ready to do that. Lots of things got forced by leaving the country. It was very emotional. In fact, I came to the brink of the decision and saying, that's it, I'm doing it. And then many times backed off and backed off and backed off. But then one day I just said, you're asking for God to literally give you a sign. And I said, wow, I'll just hope on a prayer for a sign. And it came, but it didn't come like you would expect it to. It came with the persistent aspects of rejection. I moved country. I was immediately employed. I was immediately given a good base salary. I immediately doubled it on commission, and it was in the financial realm, although it still had a sales nature. I was very quickly able to advance and become a sales director. I was the wrong guy in the wrong place, and the system and the country and the timing were telling me that. I was not welcome, and I felt a loser. I felt inadequate. I felt poor. I felt many, many things. Right human being, wrong place. It was depressing. It was psychologically damaging. So believe you me, I know how many of those people that are in their countries right now think and feel about being dislodged about something that is essential to their existence, their culture, their sport, the nature of their women, the nature of their men, the ability to travel, the ability to drive, the ability to be free. And I'm here to tell you, I get that. I absolutely fundamentally get that. That it's a scary world. And I'm feeling this sense of angst amongst everybody. You are sitting in Britain, and now I'm just going to talk because I could have put so many tweets up. 2-tier police system. We're actually in this space. If I had said to an average Englishman 3 years ago, they will be arresting and putting in jail and releasing violent criminals to make space in full jails so that they can put a social media post they consider hate speech, that was probably truth, in the prison. The police will be finding time to come and knock on doors to do social media arrests, but will not find or not be able to keep the Nottingham Hill Carnival safe from multiple stabbings, a murder here, a murder there, London streets from multiple stabbings, a murder here, a murder there, all forms of violence. They will not have the bandwidth to deal with serious crimes, but they will be all vigilant on normal people, on social media crimes. If I told you that 3 years ago, you wouldn't believe it. And I ask you, are they serving you? There is an entire airport in Spain that was closed and only serving immigrants that have been paid for and flown in and processed. I can find that tweet for you. I can reset, sniper video it. I can retweet it. I can show you this. I can show you the boats on the Dover shore. I can show you, you've seen them all. You've seen them all. Your country is not your own. You are under a captured force. You are under a captured force. Your politics. You can, if you want, go vote Trump and Elon. And he is the guy who brought the Max, which we'll refer to as Max. And Elon is the guy of Neuralink. He's not bringing you freedom. You won't vote yourself freedom by voting Trump, even though many will do so anyway. You're not going to get any freedom. You're going to get a different part of their agenda advanced, if they allow it to happen. And actually, I also took an absolute heap of voter fraud. We've just had a German right-wing party lose a seat on a software glitch. No, they didn't get the number of seats they were supposed to have got. You saw Macron's election being captured. You have the questions over the Biden election. Let me please answer to you. You are wasting your time voting for change. You are wasting your time using the ballot box and voting and hoping for change. You might get a less despicable person. You might get more entertainment. You are not going to get this trajectory of collapse in the West turning away. And it is financial. It has to happen. It has to happen, and they are bringing around the social agenda to match the level of decay of the financial collapse. So to all of you that call in, we get that. We specialize in reset terms and conditions and the world. And with your engagement, and there are some trading metamorphosis programs now available again, I'm glad to announce, you will not only get HVF method, Hunt Volatility Funnel method, to help you build wealth in these times, you will get also included entirely for free, and I don't speak about this enough, your reset call with our reset specialist, so that you can get a plan that if at some point you feel ready for leaving the UK, for leaving the US, for leaving Australia, for leaving New Zealand, and it's very scary, and you're talking to people that empathize and get that. You can visit anytime you like, but you can be much better served by going to a smaller nation slave master that is delighted to have you and to have any form of tax they might get from you, and will give you capital gains free, and is a small country, and instead of a big industrial slave master who is cruel to all his subjects, will actually give you lots of benefits to exist, so that you can be legitimately a tax resident, even if you're not there on a high net worth scheme that doesn't actually require you to be that high net worth. We have all these plans, and we go into detail. So it is not just about Hunt Volatility Funnel method and helping you get to where you need to go on your wealth building, your trading, your investing. Many people don't trade. Many people don't want to learn how to do charting. That's fine. Be part of a community where we are focused on getting the key macro trends right. You're not going to be sitting in front of a screen, jumping in, jumping out every day. If you want it, you can have it. You can drop down to 10 minutes, 15 minutes. The method is the most powerful thing in the world. But I would say to be net long in the key areas. We spoke of when the yen trade started to unwind, the great collapse in oil that we feel would happen. What is happening today in the oil prices? They are going down, down, down. This is gold versus oil. We said go long gold as the yen trades unwind started to happen. That was around here. You're at about 28 barrels of oil an ounce of gold. We have 60 barrels as a potential target. Long gold, short oil. Yes, gold sold off a wee bit on its own with all the news of the weakening economy, but much less so than oil. This is gold. It is still very close to within its all-time highs and is looking very strong. Red candle today on the 3-day mark. So that's Thursday, Friday, and Monday, or Friday, Monday, Tuesday, as we're Tuesday today. But in terms of the consumer who is truly wrecked, this is what's happening to oil. You are smashing it back down. You are going to leave the 70 handle. That is buying things, Amazon, delivery, activity. There is a real contraction in the consumer's activity at the moment. Getting this right, utilizing HVF method with the draws inside a community where you can learn practically as the guys are implementing it, as you also advance. We have members that joined 3 years ago, guys, 3 years ago, that are moving today, that have left their jobs. Some got even payouts. They are moving across the planet, but they've had a long time. They have already documents, paperwork, right to be residents. They've got lots of things that they've been just slowly chipping away at, watching if everything turns. And as I say, The trajectory only gets worse. In a year's time, you're going to have in the UK, coming up under this record Labour Party win, is the most painful budget you're likely to face. The tax increases are going to be extortionate. They're going to be higher than you've ever imagined. They are going to be gouging you, and you're going to be called rich for being semi-self-reliant and capable. That's what's going to be happening right now in the UK. If you think it's different in Holland, I've got a bridge to sell you. If you think it's going to be different in Benelux area, I've got a bridge to sell you. If you think it's going to be okay in Scandinavia, Norway, and all of them, the socialism, the tracking is getting ever higher, and the cash is being squeezed out of the tax base. It is their goal to extract you down till you are a UBI welfare recipient, and they are going towards Bolshevism. Bolshevism, my friends, where they destroyed all the churches and broke all the bells. What are you seeing here in France? All the churches being broken and burned to the ground. Bolshevism, where you're indigenous, and we're not all religious, but it is your culture, it is your heritage that is being destroyed. You may not have gone into a church in 30 or 40 years. It's your history, it's your forefathers. It is being destroyed. There is no meaningful war in Morocco and Libya, yet you are being flooded with everybody from those nation states. And who is bringing them in, I ask you? You know who is bringing them in. So I sit here and I tell you, we understand and we absolutely empathize. It is not just learning to trade the HVF method or participating in it while you are experiencing it and deciding if you want to learn it. It is what you are doing about reset. You either see the direction that this flow chart is going in terms of where they're taking you. I mean, here's some of the logic just simply for you. Cultural. Is the woke accelerating or is it diminishing? It's accelerating. It is orchestrated to be their way. That is the goal behind it. Is their goal good for me? Yes, okay, you're a transgender on welfare. Awesome. You're not my client. I can't serve you. I don't understand you, I have to admit. Is it good for you, Mr. Conservative, self-reliant family man with a wife and 2 children? Maybe, one of them has special needs. Maybe one of your family members are a bit ill. You need to be able to afford good care. Who knows what people's challenges are? And I'm hearing them and I'm feeling that pain of the people. And they are in a country. All these decisions that suddenly have to be made. Start slowly. Do one thing a day. You overestimate what you can achieve in a day. You underestimate where you will be in 3 years' time if you start today with us. You start today and you slowly chip away. We'll find the right destination for you. You will get banking offshore. You will have a multi-currency account. You will get to be tax resident somewhere else. You will get to sever your ties with the extractor that is currently punishing you. If you set to accept that you may have to leave your country, and more of you are realizing this. Are you being marginalized in your land, in your homeland, as the indigenous population? Are you? No, give it some time. You'll get there. We're talking the West particularly here. Is there a 2-tier criminalization system? Murder and rape, okay, it's a cultural mistake. Hate speech on social media, how dare you have 20 months in jail? Is it there yet? Are you seeing it coming? Could it be? Industrial levels of male low skills immigration. Not of your ethnicity in your homeland. Is that where you are? Is the Kalergi plan real? Ask yourself this. I've just killed the algo for Google, so hit the like button for the use of that word. Incarceration for social media posts, we've already covered that. Thought control via language policing on all internet activity comes next. If you're not there, give it time. Eventually what you write in emails to someone else could be deemed offensive, even if it's not in a public place or public forum. Incentives for internet or neighborhood snitches or rats. Getting your community divided and conquered where they actually incentivize people for petty crimes such as hate speech, social media, breaking a curfew during a event. Who knows how many people will be taking it? This is not new. This is history. This is Gulag. This is Bolshevik communism, friends. Near martial law levels for both arrest and potential detainment. Massive rights for police to arrest and detain. Draconian punishments for minor, non-violent, newly classified crimes. Give it time, we are getting there. What about some of the financial things? Man, government finance getting worse or better? If no, they're not getting worse, look again with someone who's smart who can explain it to you. Okay, yes. Is it fast? No. Okay, so no tax increases and no significant new inflation. Lots of allowances in your financial system and nice budgets for you, giving you room to grow businesses and employ people. No, maybe it's faster than you think. Is 1 trillion, as the US an example, in new debt every 96 days fast enough? It sure as hell is. But if you think no, don't worry, it will get worse soon. This eventually ends in a debt-based system collapse. Do you understand that? No, you need some help to understand that. Go do some study, get around the right people. Yes, debt collapse means what? It means rate spikes, which means you won't be able to meet your interest payments if you have any. FX volatility, pension failure, all forms of provision that you could be in, including state pension failure. If you have a state pension or a private pension, they will all be affected. They will attempt to forestall this event. Yes or no? No, of course they will. It's how they ensure it is even worse when it happens. That's the answer. It's yes. What will they do? Via printing, monetization, shrinkflation, lying on stats, running a hotter inflation rate than they will attempt to mask, using BLS labor stats, you know, the 818,000 jobs America suddenly lost that had been adding in over the last year to say it wasn't a recession. And you're now seeing that oil price collapse as demand is hitting new lows after production cuts from Russia and other nations took place last year. One day their ways will be scavenge mode. We talk about scavenge mode of taxation. You're about to get it in the UK under Labour government Keir Starmer. Anyone who's not nearly low income is going to pay more tax across the board. But you're already being taxed with that inflation coming up under you. Do you have a plan? You need to call us. No. If you have a plan, how robust is it? Call us, make it better. Test it, amend it. Are you 100% self-reliant? Do you have flags of independence? Friends, this is the journey. I mean, it's a logic tree. I'm showing you ways to think. Look at snippets from the news. Look at snippets from the news. Get visual, little random, unconnected events, you say. Look at them, at what's going on. Not every piece of news is perfectly legit. There is news that is manufactured and put out, but there are also things that are clearly provable and verifiable. Social media people are being put in jails in lieu of violent people in the United Kingdom. Dutch farmers were being squeezed out. Every nation is getting its turn for a degree of the Bolshevik communism. UK farmers are being paid to stop farming, to kill livestock that they've grown and reared. They're being paid more than they'll get in it in market. UK hoteliers and in other hotels across Europe are being paid to house immigrants that are largely all male, low education levels, and likely to be required to be hired by state if they are to work at all. Who is doing all the hiring in the US under the BLS neighbor stats and all of that? We find out lots of private proxies hiring for the state. There is no booming economy. You are in a recession. You do need to build multiple streams of income. Trading and investing well is part of that. You need to start now. It's not something that suddenly just clicks and you become, a home run hitter. Steady progress, slow dough is the right way. No swinging from the bleachers. But what starts as a small amount compounds in your favor and eventually becomes a significant amount with the passage of time. You need to start thinking about plans. You need to start getting things in order. When you take holidays, you need to be taking holidays to places that will be serving you in your reset plans. It doesn't have to cost you more. Instead of going to Croatia, you go to Georgia. Instead of going to Brazil or America, you go to Panama. It will be determined by your special needs in the end. But their plan is as simple as this. As long as you are staying in your home country you are born in, where you do not have 5 flags, different forms of a passport, different form of business, different location, different legal system, different locale for your business banking, different locale for your personal banking. You want to be an Irishman with a Mexican passport, a business based in Panama with private banking in Georgia. You want to be that guy. You don't want to be an American with an American passport and an American job. You don't want to be a United Kingdom passport, job, bank, and everything. They are bringing this CBDC. They are bringing this collapse. They are coming. The lie of the land is they are coming on every front, in every way, to reduce you to be a reviled minority in your home, where you may not eventually even have the freedom of travel to leave that home, on a basis of social scores, the fact that they will have crushed your currency to much lower than the other currency nations, the lesser nations you used to look down on, that actually are bottoming out and on a different trajectory. Because with the collapse of the West comes a reinflation. All the capital, all the brightest minds, all the control structures, key puppets, will all move to where everything is going to happen. It could be Singapore, Middle East, Southeast Asia, Indonesia, Bali, and even still some elements in your home nation. But you will be leveled down and there will be a boot put on your throat. That is lockstep. Totalitarianism. That is what's coming. The Deagle stats tell you, you will not be safe. Where are the mosquitoes being released? Where were the harshest rules where were the women being beaten up? Australia, New Zealand, United Kingdom, in all those nations. What are you not seeing about this process? I am feeling real hurt for people that are at that discomfort stage, that I'm listening to on calls, that I almost want to pick up the phone and phone every single one of them and tell them it's going to be all right, and it starts with us. Build wealth, get a skill, get amongst. You are a sum. You are the sum of the 5 people you most hang around with. You are the sum as a human being of the 5 people you most hang around with. It's a fact. And if it's in a pub with somebody who's too afraid to stare into the abyss of what's coming and says, I'd rather not think about it, or yeah, if you say so, sounds like a conspiracy theory, you are being brought down. You're at the top end of a very low end club. If you're just starting this journey and starting to just think, there may be a reason under which I would contemplate leaving my country. You need to come in here. You'll be at the lower level of a far higher group of people, which will show you the benefits of having optionality in crisis. You are going to face serious crisis, the scale of which you have never seen before. The debt issuance is out of control. The absolute guaranteed death of the system is mathematically 100% assured. They intend to strip you of your assets. They will tokenize anything that appreciates. In an inflationary environment where many things can appreciate, even not the hardest of assets, you are about to be squeezed from below with unbelievable consistent levels of inflation. that are continually compounding against you. You are having net real income losses in buying power to the amount of currency that is put into existence. You are being squeezed from that bottom, and they are coming for you from the top. They are impatient. There is a quickening. There is a social subjugation, subordination of indigenous citizens of the European descent across the European continent, United Kingdom, Australia, New Zealand, and America. You need to hear me now and understand. Your journey is starting. You can sit and watch that wall like it's paint drying and say, I'm fine for now. The day will come when the knock is on a door too close for your comfort. And then it's too late to start planning. These things take time. You should be doing it even if you think I'm completely bonkers and wrong, because optionality is your security. The minute you start traveling, the minute you take action, you relieve the psychological pain that you are feeling, that I'm seeing in our clients calling us. The concern about the direction, the concern about making income, the concerns about how they would live on the other side. One thing at a time. Secure a future outside your country. Start by building wealth in the community. Get your free call with us and follow-up service where you can take out exactly what you choose and go and implement and start getting optionality. This is a crisis call video. It is me talking to you and saying, I've listened to probably 10 people now in various states. 92% male, love my 7% female. They are the most awakened and alert. They're the most warrior-like, but 92% male, worrying about what to do with their families, teenage daughters, sick wives, not working wives, or low-income earning second partners, business concerns in their home place. Let me tell you, I went from floundering and thinking there was something terminally wrong with me and being depressed in the environment I was in to realizing I was more than capable human being when I changed the environment that was working against me, the laws that were working against me, the quotas that had to be met that were working against me. I'm talking to you about 1990s. I'm talking about 30 years ago, feeling like I had no future. There's something wrong. I can't get employed, and I felt like a loser. I felt challenged, so many decisions. 1 foot at a time. Start your journey, guys. The lie of the land in the Western axis is terminal. It's mathematically terminal. It's coming, guaranteed, for those that will see it or not. The best people are those that moved early, that had the time to put lots of things into place, make a measured and comfortable move. The boom could drop. You could get to a point. I have people and partners that were in the USSR. They couldn't leave. You can't go. That is your communist Bolshevik world. You run across the border, you are wanted. You are a criminal. You are hated and reviled. You think it won't happen. You think it can't happen. You are slowly seeing threats on your passport for tax. Tax that could come out of unrealized capital gains that you've never even made, that somebody has said you've made money here. And you said, I haven't sold. That's an unrealized gain. You should make a quota. They financially cannot continue to waste the money that they're wasting at this rate, at the inflation levels of this rate, at the interest rates of this rate. They cannot sustain it. People are going to stop buying the debt, and they are going to squeeze their citizens. Reduced services from government, ever reduced, till you need more and more things to be done privately, ever higher taxation, more money grabs, new ruses. They're going to come for your pension in the unrealized gains, your 401ks. Many of you think they're bulletproof. You'll say, oh, Trump will never allow that to happen. This will never allow. Let me tell you, everything is on the table when the collapse of the country is at hand. You, the citizens, are actually assets of the corporation, US America, US Corp and UK Corp and HMRC, Her Majesty. Her Majesty's arse. You are all part and parcel. You are assets of their corporation. They will take whatever they need. If the situation is dire enough, they will write whatever laws they need to give it to you the way they want to give it to you. And you're going to get it hard with a broken, beaten stick. So I'm here to tell you, people, I'm hearing you. I'm listening. I understand. I revile these people. I get up and work not because I have to, but because I choose to. My sole motivation is to be an absolute thorn in their side. By the Titanic has hit that iceberg, and some of you smarter guys have hit the lifeboats, and some of you are in the water. And I have got my little old boat next to you, and I can take some numbers, and I will. And like Schindler, although I'm sure that's a fake story, I will pull and try save everybody I can. I'm messianic about that. This is my life's duty, to value add to other people, to bringing them to realize and recognize that there is a once in a multi-generational event coming, of both financial, of social, of political gravitas, that will see a totalitarianism coming over your nation state, that it will not represent the country you knew that you were born in and loved. And I'm saying, you don't have to be there. You can always visit as a tourist, where you'll probably be treated a lot better. It's time to go where you're going to be treated better. And that, unfortunately, is not going to be indigenous European lands. It's not a time to fight and die on Custer's last stand against a massive machine, a steamroller, which is going to crush you. The smartest warrior is the warrior that wins wars they don't ever fight. And this is not a winnable one. And it's not going to be a fun one. It's going to be a slow squeezing of your testicles until the pain is inscrutable. And by the time you want to leave, the grip is so tight you can't move. It's too late. You need to start now. We understand it. We will get you set up in the reset realm. And this is a reset video on the Market Sniper channel. This is the reset realm of where you are. You need to build wealth. You need to protect that wealth. And you need to get out of Dodge. And we specialize in that. Look me in the eyes. I'm telling you, it's my life's mission to save as many of you as possible. You have to respect me, the skills, my team, and what they've developed. That means payment. Book your call. Make your first step and start the process of saving yourself. Let me help you. Okay, that's all I've got for you today. It's just my reaction to, for the first time in quite a while, hearing your pain. And you all need to hear this, and you know I could put more boxes on a flow diagram. It doesn't change the story. I can show you social media guys being arrested. I can show you videos. I can show you a video, why not one, we finish on one, of all the weirdness of the world. Listen to this one, we'll finish on it. It's not only in America, it's in the UK, it's in the EU as well. So hear this man speak to understand inversion perversion.
All right, let me get this straight, because I'm a little slow. MSG in food, bad. MSG in good. Aluminum in deodorant, bad. Aluminum, good. Right? I have this right? Yeah. Glyphosate on food, bad. Glyphosate, good. Formaldehyde in building materials, bad. Formaldehyde, good. Mercury in fish, bad. Mercury, good. I think I got all that right.
All right. That's it. You heard it from the man himself. I mean, how can some things that are just in your proximity be bad for you, but under your flesh, under your final defense, suddenly be good for you? You know the inversion, perversion. You understand it. It's time for you to make the call. It's time for you to understand the process started a long time ago, and they are like a steamroller. It's slow, but it's ever so steady. And they continue to roll out their agenda and crush everyone who's in their way. Move while you still can. Start the process. You don't have to make a decision about leaving your country today. Start the process about having optionality, potentially in the future, and take the next year or two to watch the trajectory and trend of what I've described to you to see if I'm accurate. At the same time, learning to make more money so that you could have the potential to trade and work remotely on an internet connection anywhere else in the world, or transport your job skills and take a job anywhere else. Some of you could even work in that environment, but have options, have new residencies, be able to offboard your alt bull run if it ever comes into a crypto exchange, straight into a bank account, 100% capital gains free. For the crypto bros watching this, you will be absolutely hammered. So the other tweet I wanted to show was one by CZ. No, not CZ. Somebody talking, it was Simon Dixon of Bank to the Future, a Bitcoin enthusiast. And he was highlighting Binance. Binance has a World Economic Forum leader. Its compliance team now is US compliance. They froze Palestinians' money. That's all you need to know. This is it. It is absolutely full compliance. Tax extraction is getting intense and is needing new avenues to take your money from you faster. Ergo, the discussion on unrealized capital gains. So here I am sitting with you and I'm saying, if you're in a normal country and you get an alt run, you will get a capital gains tax bill at the end of that year. I absolutely guarantee you, with all the details of the tokens you held, when you sold, what will be deemed trading, what will be deemed investment, and you will have a massive bill to pay, and you'll be made to liquidate no matter what happens afterwards in the collapse of what is a volatile instrument. This is not just about housing or 401ks that they're eyeing up. This is everything coming. And you don't even need unrealized capital gains to be in place. Normal capital gains will be enough if you've sold. This is what's coming, guys. You need a plan. You need to be able to offboard. This is something we can do for you. Thank you for watching. A more typical video will follow, but I hope you understand. We feel you. We understand where you're coming. Be calm. We will take you. The 3-year version of yourself is sitting calmly, relaxed in the future with his family secured in a nation that is not an aggressive attack vector on its citizens. You're likely not in a European world, but you're treated well like a king. You're high relative net worth to everyone around you. You've offboarded after the last alt run into your bank. You've purchased a house. You have remote work with an internet connection. So does your partner if she wants it. Your kids are in great schools with traditional values, and you are not, and you're reading the Twitter feed of the UK news. You are reading the Twitter feed of the new president in America and all that is going down in America, and you are shaking your head and saying, so glad I moved. That is your future you in 3 years' time, even sooner if you're in a hurry, by the way. Doesn't take that long. But better off, smarter, with real options, different places to move and live, and that's what I'm here to tell you about today. Okay, catch you again next time, guys. Thanks for watching. More typical charting videos will follow, but you really needed to hear this. Bye for now.
Tired of profit wipeouts and blown accounts from following trade signal groups? Looking for a better way to trade? Why not be part of a principled, structured, and technically based community set inside a unique trading methodology? Enjoy a constructive learning environment while practically trading markets, supported by a bespoke platform run through browser or app, specifically designed to teach and engage you whilst learning and growing as the markets move. This is not a Telegram or Slack signal group. All trade ideas are based on a proprietary technical analysis process honed over decades, which is the HVF method, leading to trade ideas with fast-moving breakouts and tight stops, exact entries and exits, nuanced interim considerations, and ultimately strong rewards. Submissions are graded and scored by Francis for potential high-quality setups, and we provide bespoke tools to help get the job done properly and with precision. Over time, and with focused effort, you'll begin to look at charts, price action, and markets in a whole new light. Community updates every day by Francis and our 3 webinars a week provide a 360-degree approach, which are presented by our experienced team of trade leaders to spot potential trades. We're a community of self-actualized individuals, spanning the globe and active 24/7, 365. The premium community provides a warm, supportive, and cooperative place for people willing to listen, participate, contribute, and to learn. Transform your approach to trading now. Transform your life. Book an introductory call with us on the link below.